Hello there, welcome to episode 28 of Never Mind the Bullens. My name's Mike Peters. This is your bite-sized Everton podcast and vodcast. I'd say weekly, but at the moment we're running through episodes like nobody's business because the games are coming that thick and fast. This podcast, this edition of the podcast, coming after the Leicester game, and a fantastic result. I think before the game, I think most of us would have accepted a point and been quite happy with that away, particularly given the number of goals that Leicester have scored, the way they're playing lately, even though they've got a lot of injuries, they're still an extremely good side, or maybe an outstanding side, as Brendan himself might say, showing a lot of character, a lot of intensity, all that type of stuff. But it was a brilliant performance, a really, really good game, despite Clinton Morrison's I'll call it punditry, but still, he picked the right man of the match. I'll give him that much, because Abdoulaye Doucoure was absolutely excellent. But that's 6 points from 6, back-to-back clean sheets, and showing a real solidity, which, of course, we've not been showing really at all this season. And I think a lot of that, the shape that we kept, we held that shape. The defensive line was absolutely immaculate from minute one. And the discipline we showed, the way that we dropped off and dropped in to stifle Leicester, obviously utilising Jamie Vardy's pace over the top, and those players, the Tielemans and the Maddisons and the Harvey Barneses of this world, I'm big fans of all of them, getting in behind the midfield, and we just didn't allow them to do that the way we defended with that 2 blocks. There was space behind it. It wasn't just a really low block, 2 blocks of 4. There was space, but it was a very, very tight, really condensed shape. And I have to give credit to Alex Iwobi as well for stifling Justin. I always want to go, ow, like Justin Timberlake after that, but I'll stop myself on this occasion. Oh no, actually I've done it now, isn't it? Too late. Anyway, but stifling him by adding that extra man in as a sort of an unorthodox kind of left back and creating that 5. And that was fair play to him as well, and shows that he's really stepping up his game as well, Alex Iwobi, in the last few weeks. Michael Keane, an absolute totem at the heart of the defence, and his performance levels have been consistently excellent now for several months, and it's great to see that he's back in the England squad, and long may it continue for us, particularly with the fact that he's obviously signed that 5-year contract, and it needs to be now that defensive linchpin. And it's great to see that when we've got Ben Godfrey, who's coming on leaps and bounds. We've got Mason Holgate, of course, who was a first choice for most of us, and probably still will be, and Yerry Mina as well, and Jared Branthwaite behind that. That real depth we've got in central defensive positions, and the fact that they can play and fill in at fullbacks that they've been having to do. And I do wonder whether playing 4 centre halves and who are not naturally. Holgate and Godfrey are not naturally sort of predisposed to be attacking, marauding fullbacks, is actually a good thing, really, and has allowed us to have that sort of defensive solidity that we've had in the last 2 games in terms of keeping clean sheets. Interesting decision to rest Jordan Pickford and pick Robin Olsen. It's great to see that Robin Olsen's getting some minutes, and he does need that, and I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised if he played in the Carabao Cup quarter-final next week against Manchester United. Interesting timing to leave Jordan Pickford out as well, because he hasn't been getting back into form, as we've discussed on this podcast before. But obviously, Olsen didn't really have much to do, so we can't really judge him on that performance. He was excellent against Newcastle, made some really good saves, but we had to do with no little fuss. And obviously, the back 4 were comfortable with him behind them, making that back 5, and that's great to see that we now, for the first time in many, 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 many years, that we've got strength in depth, in that goalkeeping position. You've got a number 2 who you'll be equally happy with, when we've, in years past, we're thinking, oh God, we've got some clown coming in to play, somebody who's deeply inexperienced, the Jan Mukas, the Stefan Vessels of this world, so on and so forth, and you're thinking, this is a big step down from what we've normally got. And also, that's great for Jordan Pickford as well, because I argued for a long time when Tim Howard was at the club that he had no real competition, including the people that I've just mentioned, and so therefore he got complacent and his performance levels dropped, and that Jordan Pickford won't allow that now to be the case. Hopefully, having Robin Olsen there, a Swedish international, playing for, coming from a big club, and signed as Alisson's replacement at Roma, lest we forget, and Alisson, what an outstanding goalkeeper he is across the park, no question about that. So obviously he's a quality keeper, and now it's great to see that we're really getting, we really have competition for places, and that's what we want. In the same way that United have now got that with David De Gea and Dean Henderson. So that ultimately is good for the club. It's good for the players, those two respective players, because they know their performance levels have got to be up, constantly at the top, or consistently at the top, because if they don't stay there, then there's a chance that they may well get dropped. That was all the good stuff. Of course, the one really bad thing from last night, of course, is Allan's injury. I mean, that's a massive, massive blow for us because of how important he's been. And that the way that he went down there, that doesn't just look like a week or 2 weeks, a little tweak of the hamstring being carried off. That looks like he could be out for some time. And particularly at this time of year with games coming thick and fast, that's a big, big blow. However, there are players, that is one area of the squad where we have got plenty of options. Mason Holgate being one of them. He played there this time last year and was superb against Manchester United at Old Trafford last year. So he can play there if we need him to. Abdoulaye Doucoure can drop in. We've got Tom Davies as well who can come in and do a job. So I'm not... It's a blow because, we're not replacing like-for-like quality, but it's not an insurmountable blow. And heaven knows, we may even see Jean-Philippe Gbamin. Where is he? It's like a game of Where's Wally with him. Every time we hear that he's coming back, suddenly he's not back, and who knows what's going on with him. But I have to say, Allan's midfield partner, Abdoulaye Doucoure, rightly getting man of the match. He was absolutely outstanding, and we're really starting to see his performance levels, which had dipped a bit. Picked back up in the last few games, terrifically, and long may that continue because we're going to need him. He's really going to have to be that sort of midfield linchpin for the next few weeks, possibly couple of months. We don't know because as I record this, we don't know what the situation is with Allan and how long, an estimate of how long he could be out. Great to see Richarlison get his goal as well. I mentioned in the last podcast, it's almost prophetic, isn't it, that he just needed a goal, and he got one courtesy of a rare blunder from Kasper Schmeichel. But hopefully now that's him, back in amongst the goals, and his confidence levels will be up again. And we need him because we can't just rely on Dominic Calvert-Lewin consistently for the season. We've never traditionally been a side that's done that, certainly since the days of, Graham Sharp and all the rest of it. But even then, the Trevor Stevens, the Kevin Sheedys, etc., will be chipping in with goals left, right and centre. We've never consistently had a 25-goal-a-season striker, and Romelu Lukaku was the exception to that. So we don't want to be relying on Dom, particularly if heaven forbid he gets an injury. What do we do then? We still need to spread those goals around, and Richarlison has been a consistent scorer for us for the last couple of years, and we need him to start chipping in with his goals again. But his team performances have been excellent, but he's obviously been missing out on scoring those goals, which obviously he wants to do, which is great to see. So 6 points from a week that, if we'd have had 2 draws, given our form running into these games, you'd have said, yeah, okay, great. But we've picked ourselves back up. We're back in 5th. We're a couple of points off 3rd. We're right on the cusp of the Champions League places. And now we need to go and complete the set really for this week and beat Arsenal on Saturday. I mean, Arsenal's problems are very well documented. I don't hold any sort of hold any water with these ideas of sacking Mikel Arteta. I don't think that's going to get them anywhere at all. But it'd be peak Everton actually for us to go and cock that game up on Saturday. The most winnable game of the 3. But, with confidence high. And now you look at the form table and we've taken 10 points from our last 5 games. 3 wins, a draw and 1 defeat in that against Leeds, in a game that arguably we probably could have got something out of with the chances that we had, even though they were probably the better team. Then, actually our form the last couple of games has picked up again, and we need that to keep that going with City, Sheffield United and West Ham to come, as well as the Carabao Cup quarter-final. We really need to get into a groove now over the course of the next few weeks, because this is absolutely pivotal for the season and could, really make or break where we sort of end up, and putting us in a great position after Christmas with the transfer window opening to be able to bring in a couple of extra bodies. Dele Alli has been widely talked about. I think he would be an excellent addition to the squad, in those attacking positions where a midfield as well, where we are a little bit light. He would be a great addition, a real quality addition. So, it's crucial that we now haven't got this momentum, we keep it going. So hopefully we can do that against Arsenal, get those goals. I mean, they're not going to come out and score 6 or 7, touch wood, because that's just not the way they've been playing this season. So fingers crossed for Saturday in the 2000 that will be at Goodison Park and hopefully lead us to another victory. Until then, if you want to get in touch, at NMTVpod on Twitter, nmtvpod@gmail.com if you want to email. And I shall see you in episode 29 after the Arsenal game on Saturday. Until then, come on you Blues.